everyone. So today's video is definitely going to be different, definitely more personal. I thought it would be a good idea to take you into just a normal day of me keeping my aims. You know, I'm just like you, and I've got these aims and I'm trying to keep them. So I actually filmed this video one day last week and just took you through my day. You'll see just literally when I first wake up and then when I'm getting ready to go to bed, and just different steps of keeping my aims, things I have to work through, you know, just raw and real. This is who I am, inviting you into that world a little bit. So I thought it would be helpful just to see that. I know for me, when I'm doing something and I'm still figuring out my way in it, and I'm, you know, sometimes can feel alone or isolated, or I get into my own headspace and start thinking, you know, negative thoughts about I'm not doing a good job here or whatever, it's helpful for me to see, hey, somebody else is just like me. And they're, you know, working their way through too and figuring it out. So just from that standpoint, I thought it could be an encouragement to you. Maybe you don't need that. And if that's the case, you may not want to watch. That's fine too. But if you're interested, go ahead, take a look at this day coming forth. And then I'm going to share with you here on the video. So it's 6:30 and I'm just waking up on Friday morning, March 17th. And today I'm going to kind of take you through my aims. I actually slept in a little bit later today. I've had a couple really late nights this week and didn't sleep well the day before. So let me get out of this bed and I'll get dressed a little bit and check back in with you in just a moment. So I'm dressed, just threw on some leggings and a sweatshirt. I literally wear this sweatshirt almost every day when I go out for my walk. That's the first thing I'm going to do today. So one of my aims for physical fitness, I have a twofold aim there. One of them is at least 5,000 steps. I usually get in probably closer to 6,000, 7,000. Really would love to do 10, but I have some issues with my hips sometimes and doing another workout as well. And so if I try to do both, it's just too much if I push it too much on the steps. But anyway, prayer walking for me is something that I try to do every day on what I would call a regular day. So it's just part of who I am. It was a habit, a rhythm of life that I already had in place before we ever started 23 Strong. Getting the steps in is part of my aims. The prayer walking is just part of who I am. And that's really what we hope is going to happen, is as we're building these rhythms and patterns of life through 23 Strong, is that there are going to be some things that just stick, that become a part of who you are, and you kind of do what is known commonly more today is called habit stacking. So I actually had done this long before I learned that term, but this would be an example of habit stacking, because prayer walking is a normal rhythm habit for me. But I've used it as a part of my aim to get my physical fitness. And so it's two things, my walking and then the prayer walking is just part of what I do. Hope that makes sense. So when I say normal days for me, normal days are when I'm working from home, specifically for Established Footsteps. And those are, for me, those are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mondays and Thursdays, things get thrown off a little bit, and my aims are a little bit more challenging because I teach Pilates from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on those days. And so I have to get up a lot earlier, and things are just a little bit different. So I work in the afternoon for Established Footsteps on those days. So I'll check in with you more about it in a minute, but gonna go downstairs and get a coat on because it is cold. Still 46 degrees and it's still kind of dark out, although it looks like the sun's just coming up. So I'm headed out on my walk, and I love these walks. It actually ended up, it was late by the time I got out here, and which is great. I love that too. So just love being out in the early morning air with the Lord and getting these times together with Him. Definitely tried to drink a good amount of water before I got going. When I wake up, I'm pretty dehydrated from sleeping all night, and I've just learned that's a really good habit to have in place. So I'm also trying to get in a certain amount of water as a part of my physical food aim. I'll talk more about that later. So also have to be a little bit careful this morning. My hip is kind of bothering me. It's an ongoing issue for me, and I kind of pulled it a little bit yesterday doing some Pilates. So anyway, but I can get out and walk, and I might have to walk a little bit slower and just baby that a little bit, but definitely want to get these steps in. I take my phone with me every time when I'm walking, because that's what helps me count my steps and know that, you know, they're being accurate. And I don't always hit 5,000 by the end of the walk. I know I'm going to walk some more during the day, and I kind of take into account what else is going to be going on in my day, but usually walk for about 30 minutes or so. I'm back from my walk. Got a little warm there, so I had to come out of that hat for sure, which I love that it did get warm, because that means spring is coming, and I couldn't be more excited about that. But had a great prayer walk and prayed for you guys while I was walking, and love that you're part of 23 Strong. But I'm gonna head on in just a minute and get to some of my Bible study time. I'll check in with you then. So it's about 8 o'clock now in the morning, and I'm getting ready to have my Bible study time and just time with the Lord. It's really where I attend to the spiritual aims that I have for 23 Strong. But, you know, having time with the Lord has always been a part. I shouldn't say always, that's not true, has been a huge part of my life for a very long time. So again, that habit stacking, laying one habit or rhythm of life along another, but just being very specific in what I want to be involved in for that, for me, is a part of 23 Strong, and making those aims, and, you know, making sure that I'm doing it in a full way every single day. That's where 23 Strong has really been helpful for me, to not fade on some days, you know, or let things go on some days, and give myself permission to have an out. No, I've made these commitments to the Lord, so I'm going to keep them. But actually got back from my walk, got in I think it was 4,890 steps, so almost to my 5,000 goal. But like I said earlier, I'll usually end up with about 7,000 steps once you get the whole day in, because the day's just getting started, and I certainly will do a lot more walking here and there, just in general life, right? So, but my husband was still here, hadn't left for work, so we were talking, chatting a little bit, and hanging out for a few minutes. He just left, and now I'm going to really be able to sit down and have this time with the Lord. I have got my communion elements here because I am doing, which I don't know if you can see this little cup. I love, this is actually from Israel, and one of our Living Light leaders, Living Light's a big part of Established Footsteps. One of our Living Light leaders, Mary Maney, went to Israel a few years ago and brought this back to me, along with a little tray that you can set your bread on. But I love having that, and I take communion out of that cup, or there were actually 4 of them, every day. So communion is another one of those rhythms that I've had in my life. For probably about 4 years now that I've been taking communion every day, at least once. You can find out a lot more about that in our Experience Communion study, which I am right now. So my spiritual function for this month, and it will be for April as well, is to do Experience Communion. So the Lord allowed me to write that back, I think it was in 2020. But I once I wrote it, you know, I did it with everyone, and then I went back and did it the next year, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this every year to prepare my heart for Easter. And we put it out there. Some of you are doing it too, I know. So, but that is my spiritual function aim. So, but again, I would do communion anyway, but I'm specifically committed to, you know, taking time for the devotionals with the communion for these 2 months. I'm committed to that. So that's going to be a part of my time this morning. I'm also tracking with you guys through 23 Strong, even though, you know, I've written it and I've posted it for you. I'm coming back and then actually doing it with you too. And so I've loved that. So today is March 17th, so I'm going to be right in there too. and doing March 17th spiritual food and fitness aims. For me, I'm also, for my spiritual fitness, I am also committed to working on some specific scripture that I'm memorizing right now. Not in the Sermon on the Mount. I had memorized that last year, so I'm reviewing that as a part of the 23 Strong Sermon on the Mount study, but I'm also working on memorizing something else. So a lot of times what I'll do is work on it a little bit. The part that is new or fresh to me, the next verse in the chapter. But then, like when I'm getting ready in the morning, I'll get my Bible out up there and in the bathroom, and while I'm, drying my hair or, putting on makeup, whatever, I'll review it then. And just to kind of be efficient with my time. So, and then a lot of times I'll do it later. One thing that happened really great this morning on my prayer walk was the Lord just brought up Psalm 139 to me. I memorized that so long ago and have come back to it so many times, but I haven't gone through that chapter in so long. And he just brought it up, and I just talked to the Lord through that chapter a lot on my prayer walk this morning. And I just thought, this is scripture memory. This is the beauty of it, because we can have such rich conversation with God, and it just comes back when we store that word in our heart. So here I go again on my scripture memory encouragement for you. So I'm going to get to these aims and have this time with the Lord now. One more thing I wanted to share before I do that, actually, it was as I was praying for you guys this morning out on my prayer walk, the Lord put this on my heart that, we talk about these aims and we talk about our checklist and, circling our little numbers, and it feels good, right? Because it feels good to check things off. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I write things on a list just so I can check it, because studies have shown that you get that feeling of that little dopamine rush when you do that. It just feels good to check things off your list if you're a list person. And I am a list person, but, and so I always have to check in about that, because I don't want it to be about that. And we always say, we don't want to just have our Bible study time or spend time with God to just say we checked it off the list, right? And the Lord, I was praying about that this morning. The Lord said, there's nothing wrong with checking things off a list. That means you've done something productive. That means you've used your time well. That means you've made, kept your commitment, all the different things that a list can represent. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's why you're doing it. And I think that's what we have to keep in check. And that was a good reminder for me this morning, that I've got to keep that in check, why I'm doing it. I didn't go on a prayer walk so I could check it off my list. And I'm not having time with Jesus so I can check it off my list. I like checking it off my list. I like that I'm doing that. I like that I'm building that habit, that rhythm into my life. Why I'm doing it is because I need time with Jesus. Like, if I don't have time with Jesus, I can't breathe. If I don't have time with Jesus, I'm going to live by my flesh. I'm not going to be a good kingdom citizen that day. And so I got to keep my why in check as much as I check the list. So hope that makes sense, but just wanted to share that with you. All right, I'll be back. Hey, something else I thought I should mention about the tracking sheets and checking off. And this is a great example of that. I don't check it off until I've really completed all of it. So for instance, for my spiritual fitness, I told you about how I sometimes will work on part of that, like the Bible memorization that I'm doing when I'm getting ready in the morning. So here's the thing. I don't check that one off until I've done that. Like, I might have finished the Bible study part of it with the spiritual fitness that, we're doing through 23 Strong. But if I haven't done all of it, I don't check it off. And here's why. Because I'm forgetful. And I'll be like, did I do that today? I can't remember, or I'll just, get distracted doing something else when I'm getting ready in the morning, because I don't do that every single day. That's most days. So anyway, just wanted you to know that, because then that can be a reminder to me later to be true to my commitments when I come back to that sheet and I'm like, oh goodness, I haven't gone over my memorization verses today. So that's just a practice that I have and I would encourage you in. I just thought I should mention that. Well, hey guys, it's about 9 o'clock and I'm getting ready to do a Pilates workout for my physical fitness aim. Like I said earlier, I did my walk already, the getting in the 5,000 steps, but I also am doing either a Pilates workout or a workout with a program that I'm doing for nutrition, and they provide some workouts as well. So my physical fitness aim this month is the 5,000 steps daily, at least 5,000 steps daily, and also either a 30-minute Pilates workout or I'll do the workout with that program that I'm doing. I'll tell you more about that when I get into the physical food. And you might even be wondering, why has she not eaten yet? She's been up for a little while. I don't eat in the mornings typically. I intermittent fast, and that actually is a part of my aims this month too, and I'll tell you more about that when I do eat and I talk about the physical food aim. So, but right now I'm going to get into this workout, and I'm super excited about it today. I do love to work out, but I'm super excited about it today because I just got a new reformer. This is actually the second workout I'm doing on it, and if you're not in the Pilates world, you may not know what a reformer is. And it's the basic piece of equipment for Pilates if you're not doing Pilates just on a mat. So it's pretty much the signature piece of equipment. And I've had a very small, lower grade model of one for a long time. Very thankful for it. I've used it a lot. But after 5 years of teaching and being involved in Pilates, we just made the investment into a new reformer. And I've kind of set up a little Pilates studio up in my loft area in my house, and I'm just so excited about it. So anyway, gonna do this workout and really enjoy it. I love moving and exercising. God made our bodies to move, obviously, all the joints and ligaments and muscles he gave us, and it just feels good to move, and I believe it's good for us. So I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'll check back in a little while. So hey guys, I'm just in my office working now, but I've hit a moment with my aims today that I think it's important to tell you about. So first, let me describe what my physical food aim is for this month. Actually, I started this on January 30th, so it played into all of February and March for me as well. But I started this program that involves fasting and counting macros for your macronutrients, which is your fats, carbs, and proteins every day, and some carb cycling and things like that. And I have a nutrition coach on that. I've never done anything like that before as far as having somebody to help me. I really am finding a great benefit in it. And the reason I did it was because I had eaten a ketogenic diet for about 4 years. And while it had some really great benefits for me, it also kind of messed up my thyroid, and my metabolism really needs a reset. So I had tried some other things, just doing it on my own. It wasn't working, and so I've been doing this. So that is my aim for physical food, to follow the standards of this program and to stick to them day in, day out. One of the things with that is intermittent fasting, and I have practiced intermittent fasting for a long time. Intermittent fasting is when you only eat during a certain window of time. So and there's all kinds of benefits that go with it. I really think it's a great thing. For me, I try to fast in a 16-hour time frame. So usually around 8 p.m. I'll start my fast, and then I won't eat again until noon. But here's what happens. That last hour, I am so hungry. And there's a lot of benefit in being hungry. There's a lot of benefit spiritually to that, being hungry and telling yourself no. There's a lot of benefit to it physically as well. God's so smart, right? When he instituted fasting. And there's a lot of benefit spiritually if we're fasting just for spiritual reasons too, where we're seeking the Lord. And all of that gets incorporated for me. But all that to say, just in a very practical sense, usually around 11 a.m., I'm starving. I get really, really hungry, especially if I've been up and I've done a good workout and walk and gotten all that in already and been very active. And I have been today, I'm very hungry. And that's where it gets challenging. You know, that's where the rubber meets the road and you've got to decide, did I really make this commitment or not? And I believe it's in pressing through those moments where it's hard and doing it even when it doesn't feel good is where the strength grows. Strength that's built over time. And that strength comes from the inside out. And so I want you to know, I'm really hungry right now, but I'm not going to eat until noon. One of the things I do during that hour is I really work on getting my water in. So this is my water bottle and I got it right here, and I drink a lot, which is great for hydration, because a lot of times even our hunger, not in this case because I clearly am hungry, but a lot of times even in this case, you know, our bodies are not really hungry necessarily, but they're thirsty. They're crying out for hydration. And so that's a big part of hunger sometimes too, but I won't get off into all of that right now. But I just wanted to jump on for that moment and, you know, explain that to you. So I will be eating soon, and I'll kind of check in with you on that and talk to you a little bit more about that physical food aim. But just wanted to point that hard moment out. We all have them, right? We all have them as we're working on these aims. So I'll be back. Well, hey guys, I am getting ready to break my fast, and I did make it through all the way through, and I'm getting ready to break my fast. And so the first thing I usually do for that is I drink this apple cider vinegar and fresh lemon squeezed water. And for some of you that might sound kind of gross, but I actually find it quite refreshing, but I just pretty much guzzle it. That's most often how I break my fast each day. And then I have made this lovely salad that I'm going to eat and enjoy as well. So definitely looking forward to eating the salad. And as I mentioned earlier, this program that I'm on is whole foods based. So like my salad has like fresh greens in it. It's got lean ground turkey in it. I've got some salsa in it, so avocado, tomato, cucumber, onion, peppers. I do have some goat cheese in it, and I got a little bit of salad dressing on it as well. And so that's really yummy. I eat a big salad every day for lunch. And I love this program because I am finding that I feel really good, like eating these whole foods. And I actually get to eat quite a bit. I mean, I'm eating more calories than I was before. And the beautiful thing about, you know, managing these macronutrients this way and eating in a balanced way is that your body's metabolism really clicks on, and I'm really starting to see the effects of that. I've got some jeans on today that, you know, 6 weeks ago I could not zip, and they are even slightly a little bit loose. And so I'm not weighing really or anything like that, but I just feel better. I feel better, and I feel like I'm honoring my body by eating good whole food and doing it in a balanced way. And I've just got somebody helping me figure that out. So this has been a really good aim for me. Does it take a lot of effort? It does. I have to, you know, count those macronutrients. I use this scale all the time, weighing things out. This little handy dandy tablespoon is my friend. So I use those tools a lot, but you know, it's been really worth it for me so far. And I'll imagine I'm going to keep this as my physical food aim for a while. There's so much variety in it even still. So I'm going to go eat this yummy salad. So hey guys, I'm back in my office. My lunch was super yummy and satisfying. And now I've got this wonderful latte. I don't know if you can see how the frothed milk is at the top. I love frothed steamed milk. So I have almond milk in my decaf latte. I don't drink coffee really for caffeine or for a pick-me-up energy boost at all. Caffeine does a number on me, so I don't drink caffeine hardly at all. But in the afternoons after lunch, sometimes I like to make myself one of these lattes, and I have this electric frother, and it does an amazing job of frothing and steaming the milk, and it's just like such a super yummy treat. And it's so funny because when I used to eat the ketogenic diet, one of the fun parts about it was having heavy cream, and I loved heavy cream in my coffee or if I made tea, and I just didn't know how in the world I was going to let go of that. and actually really enjoy this almond milk, and it's great. So the boundary lines have fallen in pleasant places, right? But I just wanted to mention, so at this point in my day, I know you're not really listening to me to find out about how to froth almond milk, so let me go on from there. But at this point in my day, as far as my aims, I have already completed my all three of my spiritual aims. I've done my spiritual food in participating in the 23 Strong Sermon on the Mount study, and I've done my spiritual fitness. I continued the second part of that study, and then also did the memorization work while I was getting ready this morning. And then I also did the communion time for the spiritual function. As I told you before, that was my aim for actually this month and next month, to participate in Experience Communion. So I've done all those. And I've also completed my physical fitness in that I walked my 5,000 steps and have done a Pilates workout. So a lot of things are already done, and it's 1:30. And I've gotten a whole lot of other things done today too. It's certainly not all I've been intending to. But a couple things I wanted to share. So the other two, one of them I might get them done before the evening, but here's what's happened. So for my physical food, I won't know if I kept that aim till the end of the day, because for me, that aim is following that program all day long, every day for 23 days. And so I've got to be true to that. And tonight is going to be a challenge because I'm actually going out to dinner with some of my family. And so, but here's what I did. I wanted to share this with you. I knew it was going to be a challenge, and this is a restaurant I've only been to a handful of times, haven't been there in a long time. So I looked up their menu last night and went ahead and kind of made a plan of what I'm going to order. And that's important for me because my physical function aim this month is to do all my food planning the night before. So I use an app in this program that I'm working with, and I need to log in all my foods so that it can count up my macronutrients and make sure, that I'm in a balanced position for, the different macros that I'm trying to hit each day, depending on the day, because it changes depending on what kind of macro count we're working on that day. And so it's involved. What I found the first month when I was doing it is that I would wait till the day of, in the midst of eating, to track those. And I was always ending up with certain things that were over and certain things that were under. I was never eating enough protein, and I always wanted more carbs and fat than I was supposed to have. So I set my aim, something I wanted to accomplish this month, as the day before I plan my food. So my physical function aim is that. It's something I want to accomplish. I want to get into a habit of tracking that food the day before. And it's been amazing to put that puzzle piece together the night before, and then I'm good to go for the next day, and I don't have to be making decisions in the moment. So last night when I looked up the menu, I was able to go ahead and log that food in and have a plan. But I also know that tonight at dinner, I didn't log in any bread, and I didn't log in any dessert or, special drinks or things like that. And so everybody around me is probably going to be partaking in that, but I have an aim that I'm going to stick to, which is my physical food, that I'm going to follow this program. And so having a plan ahead of times is good, but I won't know till the end of the night if I actually completed those aims. So I'm not going to check them off till I actually do it. So you might feel like that sounds kind of strict. For me, the boundary lines have fallen into pleasant places. It just helps me to know what the boundary lines are, and to know I didn't just make those boundary lines flippantly, and nor did God give them to me and demand them of me. I agreed to doing it, and I made a commitment. And so the reason I did is because I know they're going to bring great benefit and strength into my life. I want to be strong with self-control. I want to be strong physically. I want to be strong spiritually, and that takes diligence and it takes effort. And so having these boundary lines is so good. It's so good. And you get to enjoy things like this yummy latte. I get to eat good stuff. I really am not struggling hardly at all on this. I get to have a treat every week of my choosing. And actually my husband hates it when if I say I can't have this, or I get to. He says I should say I choose to, and that is the truth. I choose to have a treat a week, and I choose to do this, but I'm choosing to do 23 strong and work these aims because I want to have and live a strong life that's honoring to the Lord, and a beautiful thing in his kingdom, a beautiful life in his kingdom. So anyway, just wanted to mention that some of the aims, even though I'm doing them throughout the day, they take attention throughout the day. I'm not going to know till the end of the day if I actually really completed that aim. And there are some too, like one of the months, I had also included on my spiritual food aim that at nighttime I was going to be reading my Bible. And I try to do that. About a year ago, I started, I realized in the Bible, it talks a lot about being in God's word morning, noon, and night. And so that's become more of a pattern and a rhythm for me now. I'm still doing it. It's just not one of the aims right now. So, but the point is, I couldn't really track that aim and check that aim off until I actually had completed it. So yeah, you just have to find your own way. And some of you might be listening to me and thinking, well, yeah, you work from home. It's easy for you to do this or that or that. And I think that's one of the things that the enemy can get in our heads with. I know he can with me sometimes. That I, well, if my story was like hers, well, then I could be strong in that area. There is a lot of benefit from working at home and a lot of freedom in it. There's also a lot of responsibility in it and a lot of challenge that comes with it too. But irregardless of that, the point is that we all have our own story and we all have our own challenges and we all have the different parts of our story and seasons in our life that we got to work around. If we always push it off, we're just never going to make the changes, right? We're never going to do anything different. And I've certainly had seasons like that. And then I'm whining of why is this hard, or why is this, and it's like, well, I'm not making the hard choices. I'm not willing to go into those boundary lines. And I have found it's good to be in the boundary lines. God's boundary lines are so good. They're so good. So just wanted to share where I'm at this point on my aims, and got to get back to work now and drink this latte. So it is about 9:30, and I just got home from that dinner that I had told you about earlier that we were going to tonight, and I did great. It was so good to have that sense of self-control and to have a plan, and I didn't overeat. I didn't feel gross by doing that, and again, the boundary lines have fallen in pleasant places, so that was really sweet. But I'm really tired, and I have not done my physical function aim yet, which is, putting out all my food on my app for this eating plan that I'm doing. So I've still got to do that. And honestly, this is one of those things, if I didn't have the structure, if I didn't have the boundary lines and the commitment of 23 strong, I probably would just, I'd probably say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, but I am going to do it tonight, and then I'll be able to finish my aims out for the day. So another hard choice, but glad to make it. So anyway, that's it for today. And all 6 aims will be completed once I do this one. And as you can see, here's my completed tracking sheet for today's aims. So thankful that I was able to complete them today. Praise the Lord for his strength. Well, there you have it. Just a simple, unfiltered look into a day in the life of me giving energy into completing my aims that I have committed to for this particular month. As I finish out this video, I just want to make a couple comments in closing. First of all, I want to say that by me sharing these things, I hope you were in some way encouraged. Maybe you got some ideas. Maybe you were set free a little bit to just realize, hey, she's not perfect either. Sometimes people can look up to a leader and think she's got it all together. That is not me at all. And I wanted you to be able to see that. I'm still learning, growing. I have so much strength that still needs to be built in my life. I'm also wanting to make it very clear that I'm not encouraging you, even if you did get ideas or whatever, I'm not encouraging you to be just like me either. Each one of us are in our own seasons of life. We've got our own stories. God has his own purposes and plans in our lives specifically, and we have to take all those things into consideration. For instance, I'm in my later 50s, and so as an older woman, I'm looking ahead and thinking, all right, I have to be in really good physical shape to continue to carry the call that God has put on my life. And so that's really important to me. So you could see I give a lot of attention to that. I don't want my lack of discipline in caring for my body to disqualify me from the things that God still has out in front of me. You might be in a totally different season of life than I am on that. That's just one example. Each one of us has to own where we're at in this season of life. Meet with the Lord, discover what those aims need to be, and then go for it. And hopefully our time together today just encouraged you, pushed you along a little bit on that journey. My goal in serving you in 23 Strong is to cheer you on, to say you can lean into the Lord's strength and find more strength on the inside of you through his Spirit than you ever dreamed possible. I'm looking for that myself, and I hope you are too. I'm cheering you on. Please reach out at any time if you have questions. You know I'm always here for you. All right, I'll see you soon.